When I was a little boy, we loved animals, and we always had a variety of small pets around the house. My father traveled the country roads quite a bit back then for work, and in those days you often saw box turtles trying to cross the road, sometimes not so successfully. He sometimes stopped and rescued one or more of these, and we children were always delighted to receive another member into our household, to feed and play with and love. The tiny aquatic turtles, too, could be purchased for a few pennies in dime stores back then, and they made adorable little companions. As did the hamsters, the fish, and especially our beloved pet bunny, Petey. At one time, I even kept a mud puppy, a kind of salamander, that I had caught one time on a camping trip. He was great until he disappeared one day into the ductwork of the house, only to be rediscovered years later in mummified form. One day, though, it was time to add a dog to the family. We were thrilled at the prospect. Now, we were in no position to purchase any fancy purebred. No, we looked for a puppy whose pedigree was as mixed and colorful and questionable as ours was. Many say that those are the best. Ours certainly turned out to be the best for us. We went to the local Humane Society and found there our new best friend wagging his tail with excitement to see us. I asked why he was there, and I was told he had been abandoned. That puzzled me and made me very sad. I had had no experience at all with abandonment, and the very concept was foreign territory to me. How could anyone abandon one of God's creatures, especially one this lovable? It was only much later in life that I discovered how very real abandonment is, not only for God's four-legged creatures, but for the two-legged variety as well. My God, why have you forsaken me? How many times during our life do we feel that way, abandoned by all? How often do we feel that we are at the end of our rope, that we have lost everything, that we are drained of all energy? How often do we feel in pain? And how often do we feel abandoned, even by God? At times like that, let us notice the Christ hanging on the cross, feeling exactly the same way, naked, without anything physical or even spiritual left to him. He hung between heaven and earth, abandoned by all, even his closest friends. It seemed that even God had abandoned him. My God, why have you forsaken me? Yet we know that that moment was not the lowest moment of his life, but the greatest. That was the moment when humankind was at its worst and God was at his best. So during those times when we feel weak, abandoned, in pain, when we feel we have lost everything and everyone, let us look to the abandoned man on the cross and thank God for that moment, which just might turn out to be our greatest.